What is up, everybody? We are here with hunter, guide, content creator, all the hunting things, Mr. Remi Warren. Remi,
howdy.
Wave high. If you're watching on YouTube, you just got to see Remi wave high. Remi, you've got your bow here. Yep. I've been peppering you with questions all about your bow setup. I know that's nothing that's new to you. I feel like it sounds like you get a lot of bow questions.
Yeah, everybody's curious what you're rocking. A lot of arrow questions, too.
Okay. Let's
full setup.
Then it's good that we have your bow right here, because that's what we're going to go over is your current bow setup, your state of the bow union right now. Talk about everything that you got going on, from the bow to the quiver to the sight to the arrows, how you got your arrows set up, all that good stuff. So I don't know, maybe go big to small here.
Yeah, I'll just do a pretty brief rundown. So shooting the Matthews V3X, one of the things that I really like about it is how everything integrates. So my thought was, all right, if I'm going to have a bow that's designed for integration of sight, rest, arrows, I should probably shoot it like that. And because of it, it's super efficient, super quiet, super dead in hand. Like, I love this bow. Probably I would call this is one of those bows that'll go on my wall as like my favorite bow of all time. So for I've just got essentially a lot of the Matthews accessories because I got this before, some other companies started coming out with accessories that integrate. So I got their QAD rest that just mounts right into the riser. And then the Matthews quiver, and super tight up against here because everything's inside the riser. Then I've got my Spot Hog Fast Eddy. It's a Fast Eddy XL, and then I run it with it's a single pin with 2 indicators.
Okay, right.
And then I've got, this shows me where my top and bottom pin essentially are at any distance. So as I turn it, I've got it set up. Okay. So that's how that works. So it's like a single pin, but as I move this, so if I got it at 40, then I know that my top is 40 and my bottom's 52.
Gotcha.
Or whatever. So as I go, that changes. Generally, when I'm walking around, I set it about 33, and then I can shoot out to, or I'll set my bottom pin I can set it about 35, then I know that I can shoot out to about 60 without having to adjust anything. Just kind of changing my point of impact and, or like where I'm aiming. So that I really like that system. I've got it mounted in there so the quiver fits super tight.
Yeah, I like that because, you might, let's say you turn your sight or something, but obviously hunting, very dynamic situation. Yep. Animal starts to walk a little bit further away, a little bit closer. You're not like, oh, I need to adjust again. You're like, okay, cool. You at least have that second point of reference.
Yeah, you got the second point of reference. And I shoot it a lot just at that fixed, just, knowing like, okay, at 20, I hold under this much. At 50, I hold to here. When it's 60, I hold to here. And so I just practice it a lot without adjusting it. So I can. But 90% of the time I have time to move it and set it where I need to. So I really like that setup. And it's super clean in there. You've got, I shot multi-pins for a long time. I've shot everything, but I've just, for some reason, I just keep coming back to this sight is probably one of my favorites of all time. And then,
how does that sight, can you show how that sight goes through the riser?
Yeah, it just mounts. I guess it's like they call it the bridge lock. So just the dovetail slides into the riser here, and then you just like any dovetail, you just lock it down. So that's pretty solid because then what that does is it allows you to push the arrows and the quivers closer, which is really nice for like Western hunting when you might be up in the mountains, you might be in the wind a lot, and just having everything here is closer to that grip. It's just way more stable, I found. Like where I shoot a lot, it's super windy all the time. I found like you just shoot way better with that quiver just so close to the riser. So that's been pretty solid. I really like this setup. And then as far as the arrows go, I'll pull one of these out. We'll just try not to cut a string off while I do it. For broadheads, I like fixed blades. These are 125 grain Evo broadhead from Day 6. I shoot the Day 6 arrows as well. Because I like the fixed blades, I go 4 fletchings. It just helps stabilize it out at distance, especially. So with this setup, I can shoot, essentially field point accuracy with a fixed blade, which is pretty solid. I'm shooting a pretty heavy arrow. So these are, my entire arrow setup is 585 grains.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
With this, so I've got the aluminum. I've messed with them, so I've gone up to 610. Now I'm shooting about 585 with this particular bow. My draw length's 30 inches, and I'm shooting about 80 pounds.
Oh,
so
really?
These things zip. Like I'm getting, a lot of energy. It's perfect for
Did you throw
big
out
animals.
Have you chronoed it, or did you
I
say
have,
that?
and I forgot. I chronoed it with the 610 grain arrows. I haven't done it with the 585s.
Gotcha.
I can't remember what it is. I wish I had I took a picture and it was on my phone, and then I forgot because I switched arrows and just erased all that memory of like, it's no longer pertinent to what my daily life. Yeah. And then the thing I love about, these would be a micro diameter arrow, but they've got this insert outsert, which is why I chose this arrow. Because what it is it's got an insert, and then the outsert is a collar over it. So my trouble with outserts in the past has been that's the weak point, right?
Right.
And if I'm shooting a heavy setup like this, and I mean, this whole thing is designed for, essentially, I design my arrows for elk hunting, and then everything else is just gravy, right?
It's like it's like the 300 WSM of bows.
Exactly, right? So I'm not worried about that. I mean, think about when elk are coming in, they're normally coming in kind of quartered too, and I know that this goes through shoulder 100% of the time. I've never had it not make a lethal kill if I have a quartering 2 type shot or one of those kind of shots. So that's why I've got this set up, and then everything else, it works really good. And with these 4 fletchings and this, it's actually a really quiet setup. It's a heavy arrow, and so the bow already is quiet, and this arrow flies really quiet. So that's also been a bonus. I mean, I could go a little bit lighter and maybe have less drop, but also have more noise as well. And so I don't know if there's a give and a take there. In my opinion, you kind of got to go. I kind of tend to go with quieter arrow where they aren't going to jump. I'd rather have that animal where it is when I'm shooting. So really enjoy the setup. And then as far as release, I've been shooting the same release. I was on the bow, but
I think we took a picture of it.
Yeah, the same release I've had for probably, oh my gosh, I think since I started shooting a bow. Like it was maybe the second release I've ever owned. I think I've had it for 20 years.
Items like that are like, they become like, I have few items like that because I generally lose everything at some point, and then but you do have like a few things you're like, man, I've had this like somehow I've managed not to lose this thing forever. Hopefully I'll just do that for you.
Knock
right
on,
there.
Yeah, we're taking pictures of it. So my rule is and this is why I've had this thing for so long, my thing is it's always either on the bow or on my wrist, and I will never not have it in one of those 2 places unless somebody grabs my bow and takes pictures of it and takes it off without me knowing. I guess this is a Scott mongoose.
Okay.
I think it was the first one they made of this and I like it because when I'm self-filming, I can tuck that back there.
Oh, that is pretty sweet.
I think my setup's like a lot too for like solo filming, but I really like this. I'll probably just keep shooting this until it stops working, I guess.
It looks like it's
seen some miles. If they sent me, it's my wrist release that they're smelling my index. And when I shoot, I try to do like a more back tension style release with it. So I just kind of make a throat punch fist and then continue pulling back through it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I know a lot of people ask about that. Just to kind of keep from getting too, I think a lot of people get problems with these because they're using the tip of their finger, which has a lot of sensitivity. So I actually shoot it from here.
Okay.
And keep that, a little bit short, a little bit tighter. Had a lot of success with that.
Gotcha. Yeah, 80, like, it's like, it's a pretty heavy arrow, but like you're also pulling back 80. You know what I mean? Like,
and a long draw length too.
What is your draw length?
30 inches.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you're
built to bow hunt.
My body is completely designed to bow hunt. I'm like short and nimble, but also got like that extra wingspan. It's 6'3" tip to tip.
Fantastic.
My arms,
I'm not that. I'm
long reach.
I have an inferior bow build.
Good for boxing and bows. Things that start with a B. Beekeeping, I don't know.
I tried that one time. My bees died. It's very tragic. It's not uncommon here in
That's
Wisconsin.
what would happen to me, too. I want to get into it, but I also think that I'd just be a bad beekeeper.
You gotta be diligent.
Yeah.
Like I chose kind of only the strong survive mentality, and they didn't survive the Wisconsin winter. What about length? Like, are your arrows cut long, short? Like, what's the spine on them?
They're 275s.
Okay. Yeah.
And I would say they are. They're cut like not. I don't cut them short. I just cut them kind of I think they're 28 inches.
Okay.
Which is pretty standard, and that gives me a little bit of extra weight as well. I would say they're primarily weight forward. I don't know. I don't like to dive into like what's your FOC and all this stuff. It's like it's a heavy arrow and it shoots through stuff. That's what I'm focused on.
Shoots straight.
Shoots straight.
Stabilizes good.
Yep.
Yeah, doesn't break.
Yeah, accuracy, dependability.
And then I'm looking over here. So you got stabilizer. You see a lot of back bars these days.
Yeah, I'm not a back bar fan.
Yeah.
Too much. It's just like we've already got so much stuff. I like keep it simple, stupid kind of setups. I understand it. I shot a back bar for a while. Man, these bows are so balanced now. I don't really need them. There was a point when I absolutely needed a back bar. I felt like to have a better, more stable shot. Now I feel like everything's pretty. The bows are so balanced. I just don't even mess with it anymore.
Right. Well, and this is going. I have not shot this bow, but it does seem like everything is like compact and balanced. It's a heavy. Like I did pick it up. Like it's like. Yeah. It's not a lightweight bow.
Correct.
But like, does that help it kind of sit too for you? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, part of my thing is like my bows are built for hunting. I mean, yeah, I'll go and do 3D shoots or whatever with it. I shoot a lot in the backyard, obviously, but my entire setup is built for one thing, and that's hunting. Right. And it's generally Western big game hunting, where you're going to get a lot of different factors. You're going to get shooting up and down a lot. You're going to get a lot of crosswind, and you're going to get like big, heavy boned animals. And maybe a little bit of distance as well.
Distance and awkward
and
angles.
I think that this is like the perfect setup to kind of check all those boxes. I
like it. It seems like a solid setup. I don't think we're missing anything. Oh, you know what? I will. The wrist strap. You got the wrist strap on there.
Oh yeah. Is that
a need to have?
I have to. I don't know if it's a mental thing, but like I just don't like a bow. It's like walking out of the house without underwear on. Like I just can't. I'm not going to do it. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to enter the world of bow shooting. I don't even think I need it. Like I don't ever use it in any way. Just don't like the feeling of it without it.
So I don't have one on my bow. I'm not going to speak to the second half of that equation. I used to have one, and then I was like, well, do I ever use it? So then I took it off, and then I didn't really miss it. Yep. But then I'm like, but am I missing something? Would I be less inclined to maybe like try and grab my bow at the shot? Like maybe I need to put it back on. I don't know. I've been going back and forth.
Yeah, I always think too. I'm like, oh well, I've got paracord in case I need some extra paracord for anything, but I'd never taken it apart. Right? Have I? No.
But you got it if you need it.
I got it if I need it.
Paracord's good for that.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I think we checked. I've got my list here as per usual. I think we covered the setup.
Checked it.
It's a nice setup.
It's a nice setup. I'm stoked on it. It's been good to me.
And at least at right now, archery season / summer practice and all that. I know you practice like all the time anyway, but it is going to be around the corner. It's going to be here before we know it. So
it is.
There you go. So there you go, everybody. All of Remi's bow setup questions answered. If you have additional questions about the setup, let us know in the comments below. We'll reach back out to Remi. Hopefully have him clarify anything else. But, yeah, cool, man. It looks like it's all that's left to do is go hunt some more critters with it.
Perfect. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's
do it now.
Let's go. We're leaving. All right, thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Happy hunting. Bam.
Oh, I didn't talk about numbering my arrows, but that's all right.
Oh, I even wrote that down. That was my one note. Remi numbers his arrows. Why do you number your arrows? Ryan, are we still recording? We're still recording, Remi.
Oh, well, when I'm practicing, I always have some that just tend to, this is actually, I think, a very important thing that I do. I weigh all my broadheads and I weigh all my arrows.
What scale do you use for that? Or not like the brand, like what, is it just like a digital scale?
Yeah, digital scale, yeah. And I verify, and it doesn't even matter if the scale's even that accurate because I'm weighing them against each other. So I take all my arrows and then I separate them on ones that lean on the heavy side. So I weigh all the broadheads, weigh all the arrows, and then I try to find the match. So where they're the most consistent. Okay. And then I take the top 6 most consistent ones and I shoot them all with a broadhead. Right. And then, I take all of them and I shoot them with a broadhead. And then I mark the ones, like I slowly wean out the ones that fly the best and the same. And then I number them. And right now, number 2 is in the number 1 spot because number 1 did work. So number 1's in retirement field. I think I've got 2 and then somehow 5 ended up in here because I think certain ones, this one has actually been in the field and harvested a couple animals. Actually, all these 3 have. But It's a very so I like to number them so I have an idea of like the ones that I think are the best, and then also I know that those, as I go through the numbers, I try to like 10 and 9 are the most similar together. It's not like they're bad arrows, right? But they're the most similar together. So as I go through the quiver, then if I need to make any adjustments or whatever I can, just like that, it just gives me that little bit of an edge of accuracy.
Like almost like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but like let's say you had a dozen arrows and you had them numbered like 1 through 12, like you'd probably load up 6 arrow quiver like 1 through 6, and then the next quiver would be arrows, 7 through 12, because they would be like the most similar ones then.
Yeah, correct. But oftentimes I might not have 12 broadheads, right? So I'll have like 6 broadheads, and then a lot of times I just resharpen and reuse. But I'll test those 6 against, I generally keep it 6 at a time, and then I'll have some unnumbered ones that I know are similar. And then once I go through a couple, then I'll redo. Maybe I've got a few that I've like scratched out numbers, and those numbers might change. Number 5 might now be number 1 because it matches that set the best.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
continually changing.
Just
that little bit more of accuracy.
Yeah, which that can be a difference maker.
I'm a stickler about it.
Everything helps.
And then I don't like to change anything either. Once it's set and it's good, then it's like I'll keep those arrows and I'll use those ones, and then I'll readjust. It's
like a Ronco rotisserie. Just set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it. Yep. And, and even sometimes I'll throw in like a random type of broadhead. So I'll do 4 fixed blades and 1 mechanical. And it's like, okay, and that mechanical is for random, who knows, like, I know everybody's got their own thing, right? But there are times when I think mechanicals are good. And it's like when you're in brush but not tall grass. But it's like you might be shooting something that might be hard to blood trail. So, hey, there's a mechanical, I'm close range, whatever. It'd be a good one to do. And when I do shoot them all and make sure everything shoots the same,
right,
to a certain distance. And then so sometimes I might grab a different broadhead for something else. Or if I shoot something and I need to make a follow-up shot, well, I might use that mechanical or something. It's like, hey, it's a further follow-up shot, but it's okay. The animal's within sight. And even if I know I made a good shot, I always try to make a follow-up shot if I've got the opportunity.
Yeah.
2 arrows better than 1. So I'll do that. And then, so sometimes I have a couple different broadheads in here, but I always keep my first 3 as like my primary fixed blade. Those are my babies. Those are the ones that I'm primarily using, and then I might have a couple others that I use for different scenarios.
I'm glad we kept rolling. That was good stuff.
That could be its own 10-second one.
We were just
10-minute arrows.
We were just talking about we're so close to 10 minutes, and then we just completely derailed it. But that was good because it was good information. So, well, I think that will wrap this one now.
Yeah.
But really cool setup, Remi. And like I said, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time.